Okay, let's see if we got this thing working. Just going to send chat message. And get back over to my studio. Okay, I think we're on. Hey, people in the Tubby Webs, I'm Mr. Spork, and these are Mr. Spork's hands. I thought I'd turn on the live stream to do a little cooking tonight. I'm going to record it raw and then in live stream, lifetime, real time, whatever the word is, and then I'm going to edit it down into a video. But I thought some of you might be around on a Friday night and might need a dinner idea. So I'm doing chicken and rice tonight. Arroz con pollo, or sometimes called Spanish rice, Mexican rice. Some people call it Puerto Rican rice because the origins of the dish, while I think can't really be pinned down to one place, there's a lot of argument back and forth. You see chicken and rice all over the globe. Everything from chicken biryani in India to chicken and rice wrapped in banana leaves for a Chinese dim sum. It's just a universally liked combination, chicken and rice. Mine is going to be different from everybody else's because it's different every time I make it. So anyway, live stream going. If you guys want to chat, go right ahead. I'm just playing around with some new technology as well. So don't mind me if I don't get right to chat because I've got my back turned on the screen. I'll get to you sooner or later. Here we go. Oh, look, watch this. How cool is that? 2 cameras now. Hey, you guys remember the old setup. That's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the chicken tonight. Let's see what I got going on here. What I've done before, I borrowed a technique from tandoor cooking where you marinate in yogurt. And I've gone ahead and done that here, although I'm sure it's been done before, but I hadn't seen it anyplace, at least not for Mexican, Spanish, Latin American cuisine. So in here is nothing more than chicken breasts. I made some slashes in the biggest part of the breast just so they'd cook evenly, and plain unflavored yogurt. I try to get the kind without gelatin in it. That's just my personal preference. And a couple tablespoons of mixed spice. I'm going to call it mixed spice. It's basically Mexican spices. I keep a big, huge jar of this stuff. I don't put salt in here, but I use this for making tacos and bean dip and just about anything Mexican, Latin inspiration. It's good paprika. Sometimes I put a little smoked paprika in there, but not all smoked paprika. That'd be too much. Some cumin seeds, some black peppercorns, some garlic granules, some Mexican oregano, that sort of stuff. It's kind of my universal spice, and I promise you, as much Mexican food as I eat, I'll get through this whole jar in like a month at most. But anyway, I put a tablespoon or 2 of that in with the yogurt, stirred it around. I did that last night, so it's had a good 12, 14 hours in that mix. I'm going to use a little more of this spice later, so I'm going to keep it out. I'm into a uncoated cast iron skillet. I just like that for cooking the chicken because what I want to try to do, since I'm not going to go outside in the weather with a barbecue, although that would be delicious over charcoal especially, I use an uncoated cast iron skillet because I get more burny, gnarly, charred bits, and I like that. So let's see if I've got this all plugged in here. I'm going to go with a relatively high heat, and my only caution is make sure you got a good fan because you will get a little bit of smoke with this going on. I'm just going to let that heat up. I just got a little tiny bit of vegetable oil or olive oil in this case, but you can use any neutral oil that you've got. I just happen to have a surplus of olive oil, so that's what I'm going to use. Got to get that up to temperature. Over here, let me show you what I got working. I'm going to cook this all, bake this all in the oven afterwards, but this is a brazier. If you don't know what a brazier is, it's basically a low, wide pan, and you want that for good evaporation with the rice, when the rice is cooking. And it basically, the shallower dishes do a better job when you're trying to get rice to absorb the liquid in this kind of dish. So that's what I'm using. It's in this case, this is enameled cast iron rather than raw cast iron. A little bit of chicken stock, only because I had them and I needed to use them up. I've got some mushrooms. I think there's like 6 mushrooms that I just pulsed in the food processor. I got a little bit of tomato paste. Got some leftover tomatoes that weren't, I didn't use them the other night, so I threw them in the freezer for a couple nights, pulled them out. I'm going to throw in some bell peppers, which is a little bit busier than a lot of Mexican rice recipes you see, but I got them and I love them. A little bit of onion, and of course the rice. The rice I'm going to use it's an ordinary long grain white rice, and I'm going to use a 1 to 1 1/4 ratio. So by volume, 1 part rice, 1 1/4 parts liquid. In this case, to fit this pan, I'm going to use 600 grams of rice. I'll show you guys my fancy schmancy new scale here in a minute, to around 700 milliliters of chicken stock. So that's what we got going on over here. Here's the new scale. I'm very pleased with this. So somebody sent me a comment asking what scale I used, and the one I had was okay, but not the greatest. And I got this crazy thing on a warehouse deal. Somebody had returned it. I can't find a single thing wrong with it. I think they just didn't like the color. It's gram accurate. Very, very pleased with that scale. I'll do a whole video on that later. Again, just getting that temperature all the way up. You'll see my new assistant. See if I can show you. She's not supposed to be up there. Come on now, you're not supposed to be up there, but she smells the chicken stock. Don't worry, I sterilize the counter every time she hops up. She usually stays over on her corner though. She's a good girl. She's my new addition to the family. We'll talk about her in another video too. We just had kittens, if you guys have been watching the live stream. So, are you coming to visit? All right, there we go. So, again, I really want this pan properly preheated. I don't want to go into a cold pan because with all the liquid that's in this marinade, I'd be steaming the chicken. That's not going to give me those beautiful charry, burny bits that I want. So let it get nice and hot. Let's see what we got going on over here. And just pardon me while I check my settings and such. I haven't done a live stream with this particular camera setup. Although I am going to show you. Oh, what's it? Oh, it's giving me some kind of an overheat warning. I was afraid this might happen on the induction burner, but that's all right. We're right at hot enough. I'll make it work. Yep, we're there. It was ready for it anyway. So just a little bit of oil, a couple tablespoons, and in goes the chicken. I'd normally do this over on my stovetop, but I haven't figured out how to film on my stovetop yet. You want that sizzle. Now, I'm going to cook all of this, but I don't want to crowd the pan. I just want to leave that. Once they're in, don't touch it. Just let it do its thing. Really get those burnt, charred bits going. See if I'm doing this right. I think I am. I think it's working. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, it's giving me that heat warning again. All right, I can't go to 3 with this pan. We have learned something tonight. 2 at most. When I turn it, I'm going to use an actual spatula because I want to make sure I get underneath and get as much of that char on the chicken as opposed to using tongs where it has a tendency to sort of rip. We're starting, but I'd rather this pan was hotter, to be honest with you. But it doesn't like that. We'll see. We'll see. Well, now it's taking the heat. I don't know if it'll take 5 on that top, but 4 out of 5 ain't bad. I can also I can check on the cats. This is how high tech I am now. They're in there sleeping, so all good. Don't be afraid to let it sit in the pan for a while. You know, you don't have to turn it constantly. You see, that's what I'm looking for right there. Just leave it alone. Let it do its thing. Got the clock in there so you guys can see how long things actually cook on the replay, because once I edit this down, there'll be a lot of stuff missing from it. A lot of time gaps closed down. I would love to do this outside on the grill, but it's 6 degrees out, 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. A little bit chilly. Although I have barbecued in worse. It's also pitch black right now, so that's the other reason I'm not out there. I'm just learning the hot spots on this pan when I use induction. It's weird because you would think it would be relatively even underneath, but it's absolutely not. Might be the brand of induction that I've got. It's a lot more consistent over on my regular stovetop. I got to get that camera sorted out over there, but there's cameras and lightings and things like that I got to deal with over on that side of the kitchen. You guys are doing good just to get 2 out of me tonight. I think I'm going to call this chicken and rice with shaggy chicken. I want those gnarly, burny bits in there. That's some of the chicken and rice recipes I've seen. They always just put the chicken breast right in the rice and let it cook, which is fine, but it doesn't make the chicken particularly interesting. So I'm going to get these charred, gnarly bits on it, and then I'm going to cut it into nice, generous pieces. I'll probably cut those breasts into 3, maybe 4 pieces at most, and nestle that into the rice when I go to bake it. I've got my oven, by the way, over here on 350 Fahrenheit, 175 Celsius, if I'm doing it right, doing that math right. I want to make sure that's nicely preheated, fully preheated. So don't forget to do that like I did the other night when I made this the first time. Again, all that moisture in the marinade, in the yogurt and such, kind of puts a damper on the charring at first, but don't worry. See how it's all bubbling and boiling off here? We'll get char. Just be patient. The funny thing is I probably won't know if I got this right until the replay. After I made the first test batch, I was writing the recipe. I think I got all my steps in there, but you got to cook a recipe 3 times before you get it right, generally speaking, right? At least 3 times. You can see what I did here on this particularly large chicken breast here. I made those cross cuts. Also, remember, I don't have to have this chicken completely cooked here. In fact, I don't want it completely cooked because we still got all the oven time for the bake with the rice. So I'm going to call that good. Even though they're still raw on the inside, I'm getting some good char like I want. So over here, and they will finish. Of course, something fell over. If I was to cook them all the way to done and then put them in the rice and cook them again, that would be unfortunate, shall we say. I'm not going to lose all these beautiful charred bits either. I'm going to make sure that they get mixed into the sauce. Something fell over here. I'm not sure what it was. Something crashed. When you have cats and kittens, this happens. Hang on, I'm going to go into the back room and see what fell over. No, don't know. Can't see anything. Mystery kitten crash. I'm sure I'll figure it out in a minute. So that last breast needs to go in. Put just a touch more oil in there, just so it doesn't stick too badly. I am going to deglaze this pan as well. So get rid of this. This is toxic waste now. Think about being mic'd up now. You can hear me washing dishes. We're not exactly a professional outfit here on video production. Trying to figure out if I'm gonna just delete the recording audio stream and record a whole new audio stream over the top of it. Not sure how that would sound. I may have to get creative there. Let's see what I got going on. I'm checking my stats to make sure I'm not leaving something behind, which is entirely possible. I mean, I might be recording this whole thing backwards or upside down or something. That one breast is cooking a lot faster on its own. I probably should have only done 2 at a time. The point is, don't crowd your pan. And you see this little chicken tender over here, that's going to cook a whole lot faster. So that's what I want. I want to see that black crusty bit. Oh, there's my induction squawking at me again. Don't worry. We're okay. Ethics in this stream, not a chance. Not a chance. All right, I want to pull that little extra tender out. I'm keeping it on a plate just to show you guys, conserve those resting juices. They are pure flavor. But that has got all my chicken nicely charred, but as you can see through those slits, not even close to done in there. That's okay. That's what we want right now. I am going to take a little bit of my chicken stock here and just deglaze this pan a bit. Do not lose the charred bits. Yeah, I'm not going to make any commentary about ethics. Deglaze this pan. Don't lose these juices. They are pure flavor. Okay, so that, if I go grab my lifty thingy, can come off the heat. It's going to squawk at me, so I'm going to turn this off. Pardon me while I move off screen with this. And now I'm going to come in with my handy dandy brazier. Oh, these things are heavy. This is all cast iron, by the way. That's kind of important because the cast iron holds the heat, and I found, or maybe I'm just used to, using the cast iron when I do these kind of rice in stock dishes. I just kind of know how it's going to behave. I know when to pull it out early so that the carryover heat doesn't dry out the rice. So let's get to making the rice itself. I'm going to probably start again, a couple tablespoons of oil. Get the chicken over here out of the way. Go back to the cooking top, induction top. Let's get a little bit of onion action in that pan. There we go. Where's my knife? Ah. In the clean dishes. Just do a real quick dice on the onion. Your choice whether you want big fat chunks or tiny fine dice. I'm kind of in the middle tonight. I know watching a guy chopping an onion is not exactly must-see TV here, but I do want to cook for you guys in real time just to show you that it's not that hard. I see a lot of interesting videos, but they're highly edited. So to get a really tight 10-minute video, they were actually cooking for 2 or 3 hours. I think that's a bit misleading for the home cook, right? I shouldn't be using my knife to scoop everything up. It's bad for your knife. I should be using my Super Deluxe Bash and Chop from my old buddy Graham Care. And now that I'm in the enameled cast iron, I want to switch utensils. I don't want to use that metal spatula. If I can find my good, here we go. Here's my good spatula, my good wooden spatula, or my favorite wooden spatula. I've had this thing for, God, I've had this thing for a decade. I wish I would have bought 3 of them because wooden spatulas have gotten substandard of late. Maybe I'm just not shopping in the right place. All right, so I just want these onions to soften a bit. I don't want them to soften a lot. Over here, I've got my mushrooms and my peppers. I had a couple green onions left over. I'm just going to put those on at the end. But I think I'm going to go ahead and use all of these mushrooms, even though it's probably not particularly traditional, but I had them and they'll be delicious. So let's come over here. I should get a little bit of garlic going on here if I can avoid breaking everything in the fridge. And I should, you know, obviously to preference, but I should add just a little bit of heat as well. I'm gonna knock that temperature down one notch. Let's get the garlic. How about 3 cloves? I did have a little bit of garlic in that marinade. I should have mentioned that. I'll write up this recipe after my second iteration when I'm back editing the video. So you'll see all these details later on my blog or down below this video. Or both. I'm not really sure. I've been out of the video making game for a while. I got to figure out what the best way to do all of this is, really. One of the problems people have sometimes when they're sauteing onions is they go a little too fast. That's why I knocked that temperature down. I'm not looking for color here, but I find that onions benefit from slightly slower cooking. Again, this was just about 6. I think they were brown mushrooms, button mushrooms. Those are going in there. And these cloves of garlic. Oops. I'll show you kind of a, not a trick, everybody knows this, but when I add a little bit of spice to this, I want to make sure that that spice, as well as this garlic and chilies, I want to make sure that they hit hot oil, because that hot oil, especially with the spices, will cause the flavors to bloom and come out. It's a lot better than just dumping them in with the stock, for example. You don't want to do that. So let's do the chilies next. I grew these. Kind of proud of this. I grew these this year. You're saying 2 little chilies, that's not that impressive. Well, you try growing chilies and tomatoes in deepest, darkest Africa, where our summer lasts for 3 days. Okay, so now that needs a little bit more time on the mushrooms. What I'm trying to do with the mushrooms basically is drive off the moisture. I want to concentrate them down. But in the middle of this, I'm going to take a little bit of oil and make sure that my garlic and chili hit that. And here is that other little bit of spice I was telling you about. Again, I had, I think, probably 2 tablespoons in the marinade. I'm only putting in a tablespoon more because we'll get a lot of that off of the chicken, but don't overdo it. Yeah, you know, I played around with Twitch. To be honest with you, there's not a lot of motivation, shall we say, in Twitch. Twitch is very good for Twitch. It's not that great for Twitch streamers as far as ad revenue and compensation, that sort of stuff. And since I'm already over here on YouTube, I'm not saying no forever, but I want to try it on YouTube before I switch over, if I ever switch over. I may not. I may not. Twitch is an interesting community. It's got some really great food streamers, that's for sure, but I'm kind of, I guess I'm behind. There are people 2 and 3 and 4 years ahead of me on that. So, not no, but not now. Besides, you're here. So, why do I need those other crazy viewers? All right. Now, I'm going to use one more spoonful of oil, and in goes my rice. And here's one of the technique things. You want to make sure that those rice grains get coated in oil, just like making a risotto or a paella or a bazillion other rice dishes. You want to try to get that oil all over each grain. And since I'm on a reasonably low heat, and because the pan is holding heat for me, I've got a little time to do this. I don't have to rush. It's not like the rice is going to burn. It's going to toast a little bit, which is nice. So spend some moments. Go to your Zen spatula space and really coat those grains, because that will help it turn out fluffy at the end. Oh, I probably ought to get these peppers ready. I don't know how many I'm going to use. I could have easily taken these peppers to the broiler and charred them to take the skins off, and that would be an interesting addition. I might even prescribe that in the recipe when I get around to writing it. But for now, I just left the skins on. These are actually also up here in Canada, these are hothouse grown. And I've noticed that the hothouse peppers, their skins are a lot thinner than field grown, shall we say. So I don't really have that much of a problem with the skins. But adjust according to your local supply or your garden supply. I would love to have enough season to grow beautiful peppers like this, but the sun and backwoods Canada, not the best of friends. We don't see each other that much, you know. We're acquaintances. That enough pepper? What do you guys think? This much pepper or more pepper? And also, I'm going to get them into the middle of the pan. I think that's probably enough for this volume. If I was clever, I would have been weighing how much I'm putting in here just so I could tell you guys later, but actually, in this case, I just used plain old ordinary long grain rice. I've tried arborio with this, and you could if you wanted to, but remember that the reason you use arborio is when you want that crema, as they call it, that starchy, smooth, silky stuff. And I don't know that crema is really appropriate for chicken and rice. Again, it would be an interesting trial, but I think you're probably okay with just straight up. I think this might be jasmine. No, that's not right. This is just plain old garden variety long grain. I did, however, just yesterday, or maybe the day before, scored a huge bag of basmati rice because I don't know why they had it discounted. It was like a $30 bag of rice, and I bought it for $10. So there's going to be a lot of basmati rice dishes in the future, you know. So I think we're ready for some stock action here. I know she wants to be involved. She thinks I'm talking to her, so I'm going to go just a little bit of stock at first because I need to get some tomato paste in there. She wants to go outside. Let's call that 1.5. Let's call that 2 good tablespoons of tomato paste. Do you really want to go out? She does. She really wants to go out. Okay. Here you go. Come right back. Don't be good. Don't be bad, I mean. Be good. My new girl has a bit of Call of the Wild left in her. She really, I don't know how long she lived outside on her own. Not very long. You can tell that she's obviously lived in houses with people. But, yeah, she's not domestic. I think when winter comes, she might be more domestic. But I'm using this tomato paste for flavor, obviously, but this is what I'm going to use to color the rice. If you were making this in the Spanish vein, you would use saffron. If you were making this in the Puerto Rican or Latin American vein, you might possibly use annatto. Annatto oil and saffron will both color things that telltale red. I just don't happen to have either at the moment. That, by the way, was 500 milliliters of stock for 600 grams of rice. And I know for a fact that I need another 250 milliliters, which I'm just getting it out of the fridge here. That's so we're talking a total of 750 milliliters of liquid. That was 200, and now I'm going in with the juice from that spare tomato. So again, 750 milliliters of liquid to 600 grams of rice. Oh, and geez, you guys, how did you guys let me forget this? Hang on. You remember those chicken resting juices? In they come. Swish, swish, swish. I love these pans. They just weigh a freaking ton. So it's kind of hard to juggle them. She is chatty. She's a chatty Cathy, that's for darn sure. But that's good because she tells me what's going on. She's also, let's say, militant at waking me up. When it's time to get up and go out at 6:30 in the morning, I am not allowed to sleep. She is all over me. She's talking, she's yelling, she's screaming. So here's a question. Do I want to put those tomatoes in? What do you think? It's just spare tomato and a little bit of spare cilantro. Which, by the way, I can't garnish tonight with cilantro because I forgot to buy some. I'm going to put these tomatoes in. Because what else am I going to do with them, right? Just give them a quick chop through. These are just leftover the other night from something else I was making. I don't remember what. Oh no, I do remember what. This is another video I'm working on. Is a God, what am I calling it? It was a chicken tandoor curry something something something. It had pieces of a bunch of different curries that probably should never go together, but I went ahead and did it. So anyway, it's on the video queue. Okay, just some extra tomatoes. And I think that is more than enough pepper, so let's go back over here. Take a look at that if I put it on the right camera. Okay, so let's get these juices in there. You'll notice also that I've stayed at low heat from the time I knocked it down. When did I knock it down? Oh, I knocked it down when I went in with the garlic and the chilies. I got a lot of cooking time, a lot of heat coming into the dish in the oven. So that's why I'm not too worried about cooking this like Speed Racer. Just making sure nothing's sticking to the bottom of the pan, and it's not, because we did a good job of coating those grains, remember, with the oil. Method to the madness, as they say. Okay, let's get... Why do I keep losing my knife? Okay, when I say generous pieces, I mean it. I'm just going to go in whole with that. For this, I'm going 1, 2, 3 pieces. I don't want wimpy little chicken pieces because wimpy chicken pieces dry out a lot faster than big generous chicken pieces. And who, by the way, wants to get wimpy chicken pieces when they're served? We want nice, big, fat, charred chicken pieces. And you'll notice that my pan is rapidly filling up. That is by design. I want this just about full because of, again, the way the rice cooks. It's going to perfectly fill this up. So when you see me finish writing the recipe, I'm writing it for a 3.5 quart, 3.3 liter brazier. If yours is bigger or smaller, you may have to adjust your measurements. If you don't have a brazier, one, shop for one at the Christmas sales. But two, don't fret. You could do this in a Dutch oven, for example, but you don't want to fill the Dutch oven nearly as full. You want to make sure that you stay about, what is it, about 2.5, 3 inches deep in whatever dish you use. So don't feel like you got to run out and buy a several $100 brazier. I wouldn't buy a several $100 brazier anyway, after some of the antics pulled by a brand name that shall remain nameless. But you can get a discount brazier. Cast iron's really easy to make, quite frankly. A lot of people get it right, even the cheap Asian imports. Most of them are made in Asia anyway. So you can get a brazier for 40 bucks. All right, now all I'm doing, again, one last time, I want to make sure, I didn't kill the heat, I want to make sure that there's no rice sticking to the bottom. Make sure that chicken is nestled in nicely. I think we're in good shape there. We're in good shape. I happen to know that my lid fits just about right. It's just a little bit loose, which allows just the right amount to sneak out. If you're having trouble with your particular pan, you may need to put parchment paper or foil just around the edge to seal it. If you're doing parchment paper, you actually go over the whole top. But a layer of parchment paper will give you a tighter seal here. Like if you've ever made a biryani, you know they make a disposable dough, just flour and water, and they go around the edges and seal it. Same idea. You're going to have to experiment with your pan in order to determine how you're doing on moisture. But you can see, there you go. That's the gratuitous pre-bake shot. I always forget that my induction really reflects the light badly. I've got something around here to cover it with. Where did I go with my You know, is there anything I don't lose in my own kitchen? Okay. That's off. There we go. We'll clean up later. Okay, so this is heading into the oven. I do not have an oven cam, so you'll just have to trust me. Again, that's at a 350 Fahrenheit, 175 Celsius, fully preheated. And I've got to see, never trust me with the controls. Whoops. I don't know how I managed to mute my mic, but I did. Anyway, it's in the oven. It's ready to go. That's what I was saying to myself, apparently. And I think it's just a matter of cleanup now. I can go ahead and chop the green onion. If I had cilantro, I would use it. But again, I forgot to buy some. Let's see here. Cook time on this, again, it's going to vary based on your oven and your pan, but I pull it at I check it at about 20 minutes. Realistically, it might take about 30. My advice is pull it earlier than you think, because I see rice dishes, rice casseroles overcooked all the time. They forget about the carryover heat and such. So choose wisely as far as pulling it out. And where is my bash and chop? So since there's not a lot to see while that cooks, oh, by the way, I need to, because my aging memory will forget, I got to set a timer for 20 minutes. There we go. Since there's not a lot to see while I do this, huh, exactly. I don't know, somehow I've managed, pardon me while I just screw around a little bit with the, it's weird, it's muting my mic every time I change cameras. Curiouser and curiouser. Let's just see what we got here. And it's muted. I don't know why it's muting every time I switch scenes. Go figure. Go figure. Oh wait, it didn't do it that time. Something has changed. I really got to learn how to drive this. You know what I need? I need a producer. Anybody want to move to deepest, darkest Canada and become a very, very low-paid web camera, web show producer? Yeah, okay. Now I got to see how to make. How do I get back to the bench? Ah, that's how I get back to the bench. I've figured it out. Sort of. Not really. So what? You guys want to watch Dirty Dishes or you want to watch the kitten? Place your vote now. Oh, there he is. You see him over on the side. He's just sneaking out. All right, hang on. I'll go see if I can encourage him. I'm not going to move him just for the sake of kitten ratings, but his public is demanding. Let's see what we can do in here with these guys. Where's your sister, little man? Ugh. What you doing, buddy? Come here. Oh, come here. You're going to get moved. There. You just got moved. You just got upgraded to internet stardom. How do they always know right where the edge of the camera is? His sister is over behind the red fleece blanket. That's where she hides. She either hides there or she hides in the orange fleece hat. That's her favorite spot to sneak in there. Oh, he's definitely he's a charmer. But lately I wake up with him right on my head. Like literally laying on my chest saying, hey, are we going to play now? Okay, so people were saying, hey, we like the kittens, but you got to do some food videos. So I'm going to go back to, where is it? Go back to here so people don't think I've gone completely cat crazy. Let's be honest, I have, but this really is a one pot wonder. Obviously, it's already got your meat and veg and starch and such, although you might serve it with really good sangria. Ooh, did I just have a good idea? Do I have things to make sangria? I do have things to make sangria. Let's make a pitcher of sangria. In order to do this, oh, what's he calling? He's screaming out for something. Hang on. What are you squeaking about, mister? Can you guys hear? Well, you guys can't hear that, but they get names when we have a naming competition on YouTube, I think. What are you screaming about, buddy? Ugh, yelling about. Make sure I know he's here. What are you? Pick up your sister. You want tickle bellies? Do you want tickle bellies? Now, he's still asleep, so he's not attacking my hand. Boom. Go wake up your sister, buddy. Okay, so what was that idea I had? Oh, sangria. Sangria. Let's go into the back room. You guys can't see the back room. But let's see if perhaps I've got a bottle of something that would make good sangria. I don't know if I can do a whole thing of sangria tonight, because I'd probably drink, well, I'd have to drink it myself. I don't know, guys. Let's leave the sangria for another night. I will, however, tell you how I make it. I take one bottle of good, drinkable, albeit not expensive red wine. I take 1 can of cranberry juice concentrate, and I take 1 can of triple sec, and I mix those together over ice, and that's my sangria. Slice a few limes and lemons if you want. Oh yeah, he's easily over. I think this morning's weigh-in, he was 550 grams. When he was born, premature, he was 75 grams. So he is 5 times his weight or more. He's six, almost 7 times his weight. Okay, he's off camera, so you got to come back to cooking cam. What do I want to drink? I've been drinking a lot of hibiscus lately because it tastes like cranberry, and I got a good deal on a bunch of hibiscus flowers, and it's good for your blood pressure and a bunch of other stuff. It's good hot or cold. You'd have to catch him first. Half the time I don't catch him. We can do an eggnog episode. I make my own eggnog every year because the stuff that passes for eggnog in the stores now is just, it's half chemicals. You know, there's just no joy to commercially prepared eggnog anymore. And it's really, really easy if you have an upright mixer, right? Highly, highly recommend making your own eggnog. Okay. We got 11 minutes left, but you got to listen to me ramble. This is why I don't do a lot of live streams, because cooking is, a lot of cooking at least, is hands off and kind of boring to watch. So you can't please everyone all the time. Other permutations that I've made this rice dish with, I've always just grabbed whatever vegetables I had available. So courgettes, zucchini, squash, whatever you want to call them, they work really well in there. Butternut squash or pumpkin works really well in there, but if you're going to do that, make sure that you roast them separately first. They need that extra roasting time to be interesting. You could make a vegetarian version without the chicken and use something like roast pumpkin. Uh-oh. I hear somebody screaming. I gotta go see what's going on. What are you screaming about, buddy? Did you fall somewhere? No, you didn't. You didn't fall. You're just wanting attention. All right, here we go. Boom. There. See, you're not lost. The screams even got sister out of her tent. Yeah, you know, I tried aging stuff. It's not that different. I don't mind it, but when I make eggnog, I usually want it a lot faster than that, right? What are you doing? He's back in attack mode now. Come here. Come over there. And sister's, I don't know what she's hunting something. Oh, here comes mom. Come on up, mom. To the, probably, I don't know, 300 yards away, and I bet I heard him scream. There you go. All right, you take care of them, mom. I'll leave the kittens to her, and I'll go back to the rice. Yeah, the girl is all gray. The white feet are is the boy. poor little girl, she was born 60 grams. That's like 2/3 of the weight she should have been. So it was really touch and go with her when she first came out. And for a while I thought I might lose her because she wasn't gaining as much weight as she should have. And quite frankly, what was happening was Big Brother was being a pig, and that's just kind of what they do. And he was getting all the first milk, the richest milk out of Mom. But we did a little quality control. Or not quality control. We did a little bit of refereeing, shall we say. And he still hasn't figured out you shouldn't bite the mom that feeds you. For everybody that's here for cooking, don't worry. The rice is just in the oven right now. So we're watching Kittens while the rice bakes, and I do a service for that. Oh, and I should get a lime out. The reason being that what you want so this recipe doesn't get too stodgy, you want a little bit of brightness added right at the end, right as you serve it. You could just use, plain old bottled lemon juice if that's all you got. But in my case, I think lime is the way to go. So just a couple wedges. I'm going to leave this half for tomorrow. I should talk about reheating this stuff. Rice casseroles like this, I don't think they reheat very well in the microwave because they get all mushy, stodgy, right? The way I like to reheat mine, I'll show you in my little pan. This is the baby brother of the pan I was just cooking in. I reheat in a plain old cast iron skillet. I use, again, good olive oil, and I just make sure that I turn it with a metal spatula in that pan. The reason being that you want to make sure you scrape that beautiful charred, burny, crispy bit off the bottom of the rice as it cooks, off the bottom of the pan. So I use something like this. I use a good metal spatula, and because cast iron is pretty much indestructible, I don't have to worry about it. I would not use this in the enameled pan that I'm cooking in. I'd use a wooden utensil to get it out, but go into a pan like this to reheat it, and it's delicious. Don't microwave it. Also, the microwave screws up the texture of the chicken. Sorry, just closing the cat door, because now that Mom's checked on the kittens, she wants to go back out for a while. How are we doing over here? We got 4 minutes left on the rice. What are you doing, Mom? She's not supposed to be up here, but because you guys are special and you want something to watch, and we've seen enough kittens already. Fear not, I will sterilize this before I put food on it next. But this, she does not mind. This is exactly where I found her. I left the door open one day. I was turned around making a cup of tea. I turned around and she was sitting right here. Yes, you knew I was an easy mark, didn't you? And you were as pregnant as they come. I went back and looked at the calendar. She was only with me for 6 days before she gave birth, so she was ready to burst. She's a happy girl now, aren't you? Aren't you? Yes. Happy girl that shouldn't be on the bench, but she is anyway. She is. I love her. You know what she's got? Come here, baby. Come here. Let's see if we can show them. see if I can get her to lay down. She's got awesome black feet. You want to lay down? You want to lay down? She may or may not want to. Obviously, it's nothing of my choosing. You want to lay down and show him your pretty belly with your spots? She's got spots on her belly too. That's what I want to. Yes? No? No? No. Maybe later. There's some still photos of her and her coloring and her beautiful black feet and her spots out on my blog, which I'm sure I will put down below the video sooner or later. Just haven't edited it for the live stream. So when I pull this rice casserole out to check it, I want to make sure that I don't stir it yet because it may not be ready. You don't want to stir it and mess up the rice doing its fluffy thing. What are you doing? Now she wants to lay down. The second the camera's off, she does what she feels like. It's a good girl. Ooh, it's going to be a hot pan. All right, you're going to have to get down because this pan's going to be hot, you dork. Come on. Let's go back to bench cam. Pardon the butt shot. Come here. Come here, you. Happy girl. Look up at the camera. Can you do that? She's got a collar, a ring around her neck in her markings. So I think it kind of makes her look like a, I don't know, a nun or something. Okay, I'm about to go ding on the rice. Remember, this has only been 20 minutes, so we may need more time. All right, baby, come on, you got to get down. Ugh. But I do want to show you guys how we've progressed. Normally, I would suggest you don't pull it all the way out because, again, rice cooking and absorbing is slightly delicate business. But just to show you, you can see where we are if the steam will clear out. I know that this isn't ready. Don't you dare get over there. That's too hot. She's clever enough not to, but I'm going to get just a couple grains out to taste and test. Yeah, definitely needs more time. Might even be another 15 minutes. But you see there's still plenty of liquid in there for it to absorb to finish. And that's really what I was checking. It's entirely possible that if your rice is not fully cooked and all the moisture is gone, it's possible you might need to add a little bit more liquid. You can just do, more chicken stock, or if you don't have anything else, just water. I'm going to give it another 12 minutes, and that should get us to just about done. I really wish I would have remembered to get coriander leaves. What was I doing? Oh, I was showing you how to reheat it. I don't need that. I need that. I could do more dishes at you. I could see. No, she just had dinner before I started the stream, so she won't do tricks, but she does tricks for treats. She knows how to sit and stand and reach up and all that sort of stuff. She's a clever girl. but only when she's hungry. If she's not hungry, good luck getting her to do any tricks. Curious to see how the audio from this mic works out. This is the first time I've used this wireless mic. So, for example, I don't know if it's picking up the sound of me doing dishes in the back. I know it's picking up the clangs of me doing dishes, but can you hear the water running or not? Or did you just hear my silly voice? That. I need a bigger dish rack. Okay. Well, that's good. So it's got sensitivity. Well, I should compliment the mic people, I suppose. Like I say, this is the first time I've used this equipment setup, so I'll learn a lot when I do the edit down for posting the edited video. Just want to show you guys. She is a good girl. If I encourage her over, she will, but otherwise she stays on her square. That's her, you know, I just use them for pot holders, but her what do they call them? Not pot holders, placards, no. What's the trivets? I use them for trivets, but she knows she can go onto that one on the right, but she's not supposed to go on the other one. Anyway. Should we check in on the kittens? It looks like somebody is being an acrobat up top. And who knows? Oh, and little sister's going into the cave in the corner. I was going to do an inset, so basically put the kitten cam up in the corner of the other one, but that's hard to edit later on, so that's why I didn't do that. What's everybody else cooking for dinner tonight? Has to be some degree of diversity in YouTube dinner audiences. Oh, we're having a small cage match, by the way, over in the corner. I was thinking about making a pumpkin pie. I've got leftover pumpkin I want to use up. So I might do that afterwards. I'm uncommitted on the dessert front. Yeah. And we've had a crash. She hasn't quite figured out how gravity works. You should try curried egg salad. Just make sure that you bloom the curry in a little bit of butter or oil. Otherwise it'll be sort of flat. But bloom a tablespoon or two of curry powder and mix it in. It is delicious. And serve those sandwiches with cilantro that I don't have. Hang on, I gotta go fix that. All fixed. She's not outside because I closed the door. Where's she hiding? They've been driving her a little bit nuts, quite frankly. So she's taken to breaks in hidden spots. And who can blame her? She might be under the bed. She does that too to get away from them. Because, you know, they've only known the box and the big bed. They have never been down on the floor yet. Oh, Mom is using her cat litter box that is filled with wood pellets. For all you folks that have seen the wood pellet cat litter video, I've got an update on that coming up, and what I've done is I have no idea why it keeps doing that. Did you hear the spices or not? You saw me pull them out, I know, but did you hear them or did it just die? This is very odd because it keeps muting when I switch cameras. And I don't know why that would be. Oh, now it's not. It's like I got to switch 3 times for it to... See, I need a producer. Somebody come sort me out. Yeah, see, now it's working. You know, it's weird. It's like OBS remembers where the cursor was last. And when I switch scenes, it does this. I don't know. Yeah, who knows? I blame everybody. Speaking of, that is my timer for the rice. So, as long as I see the green bleepy things for my audio, yep, still working. Okay, so let's pull the rice out and check it one more time. I did load in a lot of extra stuff to this one. So what am I? I'm up to 35 minutes now. I would not be overly surprised if it takes 45 in some cases. Again, it just depends on what you got going on in there. Pardon the steam. But let's get a tasting spoon to try again and see how we're doing. We're so very close. I'm just checking that I got moisture. I'm going to check down here at the bottom. Yeah, the rice at the bottom is just ideal. So all I think it needs is a tiny, tiny little bit more stock on top. I'm just going to get some of my stock. And I'm talking a real tiny bit. I'm just going to it just to keep it moist, basically, and finish off. And we're going to give it 5 more minutes for a total of 40. Pulling it out all the way probably had something to do with that too. Oh, this thing weighs a ton. But don't be afraid to make those little micro adjustments as you go along. And the sound is still here. I don't know why it does that. I can almost guarantee you that it's operator error, user error. And I bet you hear Mama Cat back here digging in her litter box. Thank you. You're a good girl. You did good. You don't have to cover anymore. She doesn't quite understand that there is a bottom to the litter box. And therefore, is to dig to China every time. It's a good girl. You did good. Go back to your kids. Don't keep digging. The internet doesn't need to hear you poo. Have you ever tried apple, finely diced, or raisins, slightly soaked, in your egg salad? It's quite good. Just that little hint of sweetness. Of course, it kind of depends on what you put in your egg salad, too. Do you add celery? Do you add relish? Do you add mayo? Do you sour cream, yogurt? I like that hint of sweetness and the crunch of the apple. And there, it's kind of like a Waldorf salad sort of thing, right? a Waldorf salad impression. Ooh, I didn't know people could send private messages in this. Someone just asked. The brand of the scale is a My Way. MYWEIGH, My Way. And I'll have to look up the model number for you. It's not the most recent model. It's, I think, 1 or 2 old. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I got it. It was 45 bucks Canadian delivered to my doorstep, which, when you remember there's 15% tax up here, was a great price. I think new they're like 80 plus tax, 80 or 85 plus tax. I love the chive action. Chive and egg salad just makes sense. My garlic, I've got 1 little pot of garlic chives left. I'm about to have to reseed a new pot of those if I want them over winter. Mom was calling, so this is the slow march to dinner time. And the dismount, upside down. And she's probably going to pull the blanket down on top of everybody just because that's what she does. I think he enjoys doing the upside down dive. The sister, however, is clever enough to try to land on top of someone. Yep, there we go, upside down. And she gets the Oscar nomination for the most dramatic post-fall performance. She'll lay there and pretend like she can't roll over until I or her mom come and roll her over. I'm pretty sure this was her first litter, but I can't swear to it. She's been an excellent mom. She is a drama queen. He's not much better. He makes the dives as well. Oof. And, you know, he always beats her up, but then she turns right around and goes right back at it. Full of energy. Oh. I'm pretty sure that we're ready. Let me just pull the final time because we're 30 seconds away from 45 minutes. So it's 45 minutes total. Your mileage may vary. Ugh. And one more try. You see that little tiny bit of extra moisture I put in there is completely absorbed, just what it needed. Yep, that rice is spot on. Just a little bit of bite left to it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I should say, the chicken stock I used I had already mixed salt into the chicken stock there. So, and I did taste a couple times. I don't know if the camera was on or not, but you obviously want to get the salt right. Although it's a little bit tricky because you're tasting the liquid before the rice absorbs it. So if you taste the broth right as you go into the bake, it should probably be just a little bit saltier than you expect. But get your salt and pepper right before it goes in the oven because you don't really have much chance to do that afterwards. And let me see if I can get this out of the way. Turn off the oven. Okay. And that's pretty much ready for service. So now what I need to do for the edit is I need to film my exit. So you guys, don't worry, I'm not leaving quite yet. I'm going to taste it with you. But pardon me while I do this. So there you go. That is my rice and chicken casserole with Latin American influences. Some people would call it Mexican. Some people would call it Puerto Rican. I just call it delicious. I do appreciate you liking and thumbs upping and Tweety space booking and all that other crazy stuff that you guys do. There's links down below the video for everything that you need to know about this. It'll be a full recipe out on my blog. Until next time, I am Mr. Spork. These are Mr. Spork's hands. Now, go cook some rice and chicken and whatever else tastes good inside there. Cheers. So there you go. That was the secret sign off. I just need that little clip so I can put it on the edited video. I got to serve it, but I don't want to serve it right away. This is still cooking in that cast iron skillet, and with the top off, that last little bit of any surplus moisture is going to evaporate. But I don't want to dive into this right away because it'll just be a hot mess trying to spill out on the plate. I want it to cool and set just a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes. I will hang around and do that for you guys that have been here if you want to see that. But not yet. And in the meantime, let's switch back just for a few minutes. I'm not going to bore you all with it forever because I'm trying not to over-kitten the internet. You guys can watch the end of dinner time while it cools. Any questions other than how to make a curry with my microphone on? Ooh, jicama. That sounds good. I love jicama. You just got to make sure that you dice it to the right size. You know, nothing's worse than a huge Horkin 3-inch square of jicama. Yeah, we're going to come. I need to, this is a cooking video. We're in the cooking section, remember? So, Mom's just giving them baths anyway. You're not missing anything. Isn't this always the problem with the delicious things? You have to wait for them to cool, like the lasagna I did the other night. Oh, that was murder waiting an hour for that to cool down. But you got to, otherwise it just runs everywhere on the plate. Cutting into a hot pecan pie, not a good idea. No, my microphone isn't off. That I've learned from experience. It will give me a little bit of blank canvas video if I need to redo that commentary at the end. I'm guessing that you're going to make me rush the cooling down and go ahead and scoop out some of it to try. You're going to do that to me, aren't you? All right. Let's get a scoop. I should let it cool more, but notice some of those charred, gnarly bits of the chicken have been preserved. That's kind of the intent here. Oops. If I can, where's my other spatula? Ugh, it always sticks to the wood. It's not paella. I wouldn't dare call this paella because I'd make a lot of Spaniards really mad. But you can see it's in that same vein. Rice cooked with a bunch of delicious stuff. You cannot go wrong. I'm going to steal one more big piece of chicken. And by the way, that chicken, as you can see, is just cooked perfectly. It's not overly dry. It's not tough. If you were really, really worried about putting the raw chicken in, you can temp it. But that chicken is more than done. So we're in great shape. Do you want some? There's somebody right here that is interested. Here, you can scoot over a little bit. No, you can't have the limes. You can't have the limes. Okay. That last little flourish of brightness. Pretend like you see me putting cilantro on here, coriander leaf. Let me get something better than a tasting spoon. If I can manage not to destroy the kitchen in the process. Let's go for the traditional yum shot. El gato, you cannot have arroz con pollo. This is not for you. She really wants some. She can smell it. No. Come on, Missy. You get down off of here. Ugh. She's like, but it's chicken and it's in front of me and it's edible. Okay, guys. Proof is in the proverbial pudding. Oh man. Okay. I'm really happy with that. I'm really pleased with the texture on the rice. I didn't get a big piece of chicken, but I can already taste the chicken in the rice, so that flavor between the chicken and the resting juices and the chicken stock permeated the rice properly. Chicken's nice and tender, not overly dry, but I'm tasting some of that char that we got from the yogurt marinade. That's working really well. Yeah. It's really rude of me to stream while eating, but I'm pleased with that. I'm really, really pleased with the way that worked out. And the good news is it'll be even better the next day, because it always is. Okay, so there you go. That's my live stream for the night. I'm going to show you the kittens have had their dinner, so they're sleeping. I'm going to go back and have my dinner. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching, and you'll see the condensed version of this edited down to be much more interesting. probably in a day or two. Hope you guys have a good night. Hope you eat something good for dinner. And I hope you try to make this chicken and rice dish the next time you need something in a one-pot wonder. Okay? You guys have a good night.